Hi guys, welcome to another episode. This episode will be about the handrails. I have in my house two levels. It's a ground floor and the first floor, or first floor and the second floor, depends where you live. And now it's time to make a handrails. And just to give you some context, they are made out of concrete, steel and concrete, so they are very solid. And our house is semi industrial style, so we have quite a lot of steel, solid wood, and such things. That's why I would like to make those handrails also using steel. I don't have square profiles here on my table because they will be too big to present, but I had a few concepts and I would like to share them with you. First one was to, let's assume that this will be the post. So in a place where stairs turns, I would like to have a post like this, and then weld or to screw, that's not decided yet. I have the handrail going up to next level. To distribute weight of it way better, I would like to weld a plate bigger than this one, of course, like this, so the weight of this that post will be distributed on a little bit bigger area on the floor. I have heating in my floor, so I cannot drill too deep, so that's why it cannot be the only anchor point. And because of it, my initial concept was to make a big post like this, which would be almost 6 meters height from the bottom floor to the upper ceiling. So that was my first idea, and it's not anymore, because then I realized that each of those elements can bend. So that post would transfer the weight of my top floor to the bottom floor. And that bottom floor is not designed to carry that much weight. So to avoid this transferring all the load from the very top ceiling to the floor that is not designed for it, I decided to make it shorter. So let's assume that the upper floor is here, ceiling will be over here. And now I need to have another anchor point, because there will be no ceiling. So the idea is that I have a wall here and a wall also here. So I will attach this post in two places to my walls, and stairs will be here. So that post has to be high enough to make this whole walk safe for even tall people. So that's how it has to be. And there my another idea came. Okay, if that will be shorter, I will weld a plate here, I will drill holes here, and those two anchors I will weld to another piece, also drilled, and I will screw all those pieces together. And that's why I end up with so many flat bars cut to the same length, the same here, because that one was designed and was planned for the very bottom plate, and those two are 10 centimeters each, so there are two sets. So those were designed and planned to be used here. But then I realized another thing that I am still a beginner, and all those plates have to be flat. Otherwise, they will not match in case of those two well. Or if that bottom part, the bottom plate will be not flat, it will not distribute weight of that post as I expect. So there will be points on my floor where the load will be very high, and I hope not too high. So I came with another idea. Bottom plate is fine, that's a good idea. And those anchors are also a good idea. There is no other way to anchor it without and avoid transferring the weight of stairs or upper ceiling to the floor. I will weld. I will make this post with the two anchor points, but those two anchor points will be screwed to that main post. So first I will put this one, I will anchor it to the floor, and then I will anchor those elements to walls and to this post. Everything with a few screws. Maybe I will also weld it at the end, we will see, but that should be a way easier for me to make and to install, because my initial idea for this idea was to weld those two anchor points, but each of them is like a 1 meter length, and that would require too much precision, at least for my skills level for now. So that's why I decided to have a post with drilled holes, screw all these parts together, and then weld once I will be happy with everything set up. So that's about the whole concept. It might change, so that will be a first video, not the last one for sure, about this. Here I have some flat bars, small pieces for starting and ending points. It's a good practice. So first I will weld the bottom plate from those 3 pieces. There are 10 centimeters width, 30 centimeters length, 1 centimeters thickness. I will use I will do this using my stick welder, because in my MIG I have pretty thin wire, so it will be easier for me to use a stick welder. But before that I have to grind it and prepare for welding. So I'm going to do this and see you in a few minutes. Okay, so I have my bottom plate prepared for welding. Let me show you. So here I have 3 pieces tucked in a few places. Those plates are just temporary plates for start and end, to have the full weld, and also to prevent bending those two actually 3 elements. Here I have my welding board with ground attached to it, but I'm not going to weld directly on my welding board because it's not as flat as I want to. So I took a few scraps of old square profiles, and I will use them also for better heat distribution. I don't want to damage my board, even it's not perfect. So everything is ready. I'm going to use 2.5 millimeters sticks. I hope that I had the bigger ones, but that's those that I have, so I have to deal with it somehow, and probably that will take like 3 passes at least for each joint. That part of welding is done. I used 15 electrodes for those two short lines, so probably the biggest welding that I did so far. I'm quite happy of the result. Of course, it's not the structural welding, it's not the ship, so it doesn't has to be extremely strong. It is, but mainly it has to be nice looking and good enough to carry the post. I did it in 3 passes, 2 from that V groove side, and the one from the opposite side here. Mainly because I couldn't use a higher voltage. I mean, it's not voltage, but more power for that thin electrodes. But that's still fine. 2 passes from the top, 1 on the bottom. So now I need to cut off those wings and prepare everything to have nice looking plate. I will do this off camera because it will be just cutting, grinding, and nothing fancy. Next step will be drilling holes to anchor it to the floor, and the obvious approach would be to drill on the 4 corners. I can't do this from a very simple reason. Like I said, I will have the plate and the post bigger here, and stairs turns around that post, but the one side of the plate will be below the stairs that I have no access to, so I will not be able to drill a hole in the concrete, and also I can't put any screws, bolts, wherever to anchor it. So I think that I will drill 3 holes here and 2 another here, maybe 1 here. I need to measure it more precisely, but for sure it will not be anchored equally around, simply because I don't have access to it. Also, I would like to use 8mm bolts to anchor it to the floor, but I will drill, that's how it will not be a pain, 10mm, just to give a little bit of space, because the floor can expand and contract the same as steel, so I would like to give it a little bit of room to not create any unnecessary tension. So I'm going to clean up that plate and drill holes. Plate is more or less ready. It's quite straight, not perfectly flat. Maybe I will work on it a little bit later, but now I would like to focus on making all the holes for anchors. I will use those drills from Bosch. They're pretty cool. As I mentioned earlier, it's a drill number 10. No pre-drill, at least not for the first one. We will see how it goes. And as expected, I will have 3 holes on that side, 3 on that side, and just 1 here. Those 2 holes will be missing just because I have no access to those points in any way to drill in my floor and then anchor it. So there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 anchor points on that plate. I hope that it will be good enough, especially that here will be a stairs, so there will be kind of support from falling down. Also on that side will be stairs, and also here, so that should be pretty tough and stable. Okay, so I'm going to drill all those holes, and the next step will be to weld the first 2 meters piece of the post to it. Having this done, I will see how it goes, how it fits to my stairs. If everything will be fine, I will weld another 2 meters piece, so that will be 4 meters altogether. And that's how my plate looks like. As you could see, the drill is really amazing. Drilling even on a low quality press drill has no issues at all with 1 centimeters thick of steel, so pretty amazing. So all holes are done. 10 millimeters holes for 8 millimeters bolts as anchor points. Those 2 unfortunately are missing, so I'm going to weld the first piece of post to it, and we'll see how it fits. Here I have my plate with ton of magnets. Let's hope that they will be able to keep that post element straight, at least for a few tacks. I just need to attach it to the plate, and then it should be stable. I will use mag welding just because it's clearer than stick welding. Stick welding is fine for the thick pieces and where you have access to remove all this dust, but MIG welding is way more pleasant. So let's try to set it up. And it might be that my garage is not high enough. Let's see. Yep. Okay, time for another approach. Yeah, so I think that I have to weld it horizontally. I draw on this plate a square with the exact location of that square profile, so I know that it is on the center of it, and everything seems to be okay. So let's do a few tacks and see how it works. I have it tacked in a few places, so let's see if that was enough. I cannot use my level here because in my garage, half of the garage is like a small slope to drain water from garage outdoors, so the floor is not level. Yeah, but seems to be okay. I'm going to check how that post fit to my stairs, and if everything is fine, I'm going to continue welding. Okay, I guess that's it. Plate attached to the first post. Next step is to weld another same length piece to the end, and yeah, I guess that's the end of the very first episode, me doing these handrails. So thanks for watching and see you next time.